Chance loses it on Adam, and Sally stuns Nick. The young and the restless heirs today. Chelsea makes fun of Billy. Lily starts to get worried, and Victor outlines his strategy. When Lily gets to work, she finds a present and card waiting for her on the desk. After reading the card, she phones Billy to express her gratitude. Since she wants to personally thank him, she plans to open the gift in his presence. The podcast room is disrupted by Chelsea munching, and Billy becomes angry enough to propose they go to Crimson Lights. She mocks his style of organization and tosses popcorn at him in jest. When he goes to pick it up from the floor, she makes fun of him and says he's being too rigid. He has to wonder if she thinks he's changed since he's been seeing Lily. That's what Chelsea has concluded anyway. They argue about whether or not he needs to take a deep breath and calm down. Instead, he wants to talk to her about his problems. She brags that she's been through extensive therapy and challenges Billy to match her intensity. Sally runs into Chance at Crimson Lights and asks whether he believes in serendipity because he's the very man she's been hoping to meet. Her new staff is having a hard time obtaining information, and she wants to know when they might anticipate an official update on his strange probe. Chance realizes the significance of the news and assumes she feels a need to show herself in her new role. Sally agrees and says she is sad about breaking up with Adam. That's what Chance thinks anyway. She has actually heard it before. They all agree that Adam disappoints others. After hearing about his past with Adam, Chance realizes he and Sally share some similarities. He's curious about Adam's involvement in the investigation and why Victor hasn't been questioned yet. As someone who knows how much Victoria has been through, she doesn't want to accept the possibility that this is true. Chance takes another sip from his coffee. Sally interprets his silence as a warning that things are about to get more challenging and wonders whether that was his intention. As Chance walks out, Adam comes out from behind the patio doors, having heard enough to deduce that Sally was trying to coerce a confession out of Chance. Sally questions whether or not he takes pleasure in tormenting her. Adam declares his intention to accept her offer, but he later learns that she is lying and knows nothing about the events leading up to Locke's death. Sally retorts that she was not going to tell the investigating detective what Nick had told her. Adam insists that she initiate the exchange of information if they are going to have any at all. Sally says he's treating it like a game, which is harsh on his part. That's correct. Nick never filled me in on what happened the night Ashlyn passed away. She tells him she's growing to not care if he manages to say anything nice about her, and then she leaves. Back at the ranch, Victor shares the video footage that Chance captured of the smoker getting into Ashlyn's rental car and driving away with Nikki, Nick, and Victoria. Nick is aware that a DNA test can establish beyond a reasonable doubt that it is a member of his father's security squad. Nikki explodes about how careless they've been, and Nick demands to know their next move. According to him, they really should be proactive about this. Currently, Victor just wants to chill out and wait. He says he told Sally about Ashlyn's death, but urged her to keep it quiet. Nick thinks he went there to scare her, and is furious that he's making things worse. An argument has broken out between Victor and Nick. Nick cautions that if other media outlets start publishing the story, it will look like they've suppressed the coverage. Nikki elaborates by saying it will seem like they have something to hide. In any case, Victor couldn't care less. "Vic, you know I'm right," Nick insists to his sister. Victoria abandons the discussion to see how the children are doing. Nick tries to convince his father, Victor, that they need to make a U-turn, but Victor snaps that they're done talking and storms off. Nick makes Nikki some tea and encourages her to talk to Michael about her legal alternatives. The two parties disagree on what should be released by Newman Media. Nick thinks that if they try to suppress it, it will look like a cover-up. This is an issue on which Nikki agrees with Victor. They need not be the ones to reveal it. Nick is probably right in thinking that he's the only one who thinks they should get an early start on this. He'll pay Sally a visit and won't tell her she needs to tone down her reporting on Locke's death. When Victor sees Noah enter society, he immediately offers to buy him a drink. He wants to know if his grandson has secured a new spot for the nightclub. Even though Noah is confident that he has, he insists that he would rather talk about something else. When they last spoke, Victor didn't inform Noah that Ashlyn had died, and now Noah is left wondering why. He suspects something is about to happen. Everything is going to be fine, Victor reassures him. His loved ones may be angered by his methods, but he does what he does purely out of a desire to keep them safe. Noah suggests that he has concerns about him. You trust me, right? Victor probes. After a moment, Noah confirms. With my own blood. They raise a glass in a toast. Victoria runs into Nate in the park and expresses gratitude for his thoughtful voicemail over Ashlyn's passing. In general, she's doing fine. Nate tells her she can talk to him about how she feels about Locke. Even though Victoria knows he was a jerk, she won't let off steam over it. She plans to ignore that period and move on instead. Nate reflects that it isn't always so simple to put into practice. When Victoria probes further into his transition to the corporate world, he reveals that working with family has presented some obstacles. Victoria shrugs and says, "Tell me about it." People generally acknowledge that family members and close friends treat you differently than non-relatives in the workplace. Victoria is confident that Devin and Lily recognize their good fortune in having him. It is Nate's sincere hope that they feel this way. Lily returns to Chancellor Winters, where she is greeted by Devin and the two catch up. Devin explains that Amanda and her mother are still in Virginia. When she inquires as to the double booking, Devin says that Nate went ahead with it without permission and became defensive when he challenged him. When he advised that they find a mentor, he became enraged and insulted. Despite Lily's best efforts, Devin is convinced that the fact that Nate is Lily's cousin rather than her boss is at least partially to blame for his indifferent behavior. This is the second time Nate has acted alone without seeking permission. In Lily's opinion, this has less to do with the business and more to do with Devin. However, Devin says that is not the case. Lily promises that they will succeed. Things obviously can't keep going on like this, to which Devin says, "We have to figure this out." Seeing Chance ordering takeout at Society, Adam tells him he is still not interested in having him join his inquiry. Adam just shrugs and decides to strike out on his own. Chance advises him to drop the matter. There have been rumors about his being persistent. Adam assumes he's referring to Sally and fills in the detective on what really motivates her. Adam assures him that he can find out what she knows and once more asks if he wants to work together. "Just what you think?" The enraged Chance labels Adam a useless piece of garbage. He gives him a talking to about how he's been treating Sally. Adam minimizes the significance of the fact that all relationships eventually fail. Incredulous, Chance watches him wallow in his own self-deprecation. The truth of Adam, as seen through Adam's realistic eyes. Chance advises him to change his life and focus on the present. He smashes his hand on the table and says, "All I see is you falling into old habits," adding, "and it drives me off." If not for himself, then at least for the sake of his son, he could have improved. Adam tells Chance he's incorrect and that this is the best it's going to be for him. Indignant, Chance stomps out while muttering, "Have it your way." When Victor meets up with Victoria at Newman, she proudly reports the company's quarterly success. Because she was upset and left the ranch, Victor has heard from her. Being among the youngsters has helped her relax. Victor feels relieved, and he wishes the same for Nick. Victoria is concerned for her brother, who hasn't had time to absorb the consequences of his actions and is now paralyzed with fear by the prospect of Victor's imprisonment. Vic predicts such outcome to be improbable. Victoria sighs, emphasizing that Nick bears a heavy burden. Victor thinks they should relax and wait for things to happen. Victoria points out that it's never been one of his strengths. Sally arrives at Newman Media to find Nick already there. More information concerning Locke's death is likely to be released soon. Therefore, he wants to discuss how they will handle it. Sally thinks he might be getting sick from this. Nick explains his entire family's reputation might be tarnished. Sally tells him that he can forget about getting this news from Newman Media. Nicholas is taken aback. He is aware of the strain his father put on her. Sally says that's not the case, and that she's simply sick of people using the personal lives of others as fodder for gossip and innuendo. Nick admires her for having such a positive outlook, but she must accept the fact that there will be times when she must publish tales that constitute an invasion of privacy. When the time is right, Sally will share the facts about the Ashland incident and move on. Nick cracks a wry grin. It's fantastic that she agrees with everyone in the family. Sally does not wish to advance her own reputation at the expense of her family. A lot of their resources have already been drained by Ashland, saying, "Enough is enough."